We are learning new information tonight about the Forest Park rape suspect. It turns out he has been removed from the country more times than previously thought.
Before he was arrested for allegedly raping a woman near this Forest Park bus stop Saturday, immigration officers say German Matthews had been removed from the country 5 times.
An asylum seeker from the Democratic Republic of Congo was arrested yesterday for allegedly sexually assaulting an employee inside a local hotel.
All right, well, for the second time in less than a week, a person seeking asylum living in Western New York faces a sexual assault charge.
This morning, a suspect is under arrest in the slaying of Texas high school cheerleader Lisbeth Medina. The suspect, identified as Rafael Govea Romero, who police say is undocumented.
Asylum seeker accused of killing another tonight on Randall's Island.
In New York, a 15-year-old is under arrest after allegedly shooting a tourist in a store in Times Square and firing at police.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement confirms to Fox News that the NYPD arrested 26-year-old Jose Antonio Ibarra in September. 1 year earlier, Ibarra, a Venezuelan national, had illegally entered the U.S. near El Paso. Last week, police arrested him for the murder of Laken Riley.
Louisiana police saying this, a 19-year-old man from Honduras is accused of raping a 14-year-old girl and committing an armed robbery.
Spokesperson for the sheriff's office says all 3 are undocumented immigrants from Guatemala. They face various charges, but the sheriff's office says they forced a woman into a car, then committed sexual battery on her at 2 different locations.
Tonight, a migrant has been charged with raping a 15-year-old disabled girl.
Now to Michigan, where an undocumented migrant is charged in the carjacking and also murder of a Michigan woman.
Elvis Jesus Hernandez Pernalete, who also goes by Luis Guevara, has been charged with criminal sexual abuse, aggravated battery, and strangulation. The Venezuelan migrant followed a woman from the UIC Halstead Blue Line station near Harrison and Morgan Streets, then physically and sexually assaulted her. Court documents reveal this was not the first woman Pernalete followed from a train stop and attacked.
This morning, an illegal immigrant is in custody. This man, Harpreet Singh, is now in federal custody. Listen to this. Police say he showed up at the home of a Gates woman last Thursday pretending to be a federal agent. He told her he was there to collect her life savings.
A West New York man is charged with attempted murder. Police say Ernesto Lara Rojo cut a woman's throat with a razor blade. That happened yesterday afternoon in Cliffside Park. The victim at the hospital fighting for her life.
An 18-year-old undocumented migrant from El Salvador has been arrested in Mendota for murdering a man and dismembering his body.
Investigators say they stumbled onto undocumented immigrants inside a home while investigating a child porn complaint.
Texas authorities caught an illegal migrant who was wanted in a child molestation case.
According to ICE, the Haitian migrant you just mentioned turned himself in seeking asylum here in El Paso last year. He was then allowed to live in the United States. He now sits in jail accused of murder.
New here at 9, an arrest made for an alleged kidnapping of a child. The sheriff's office says that the suspect sexually assaulted a minor. Details right now not immediately made known. During the case at this time, investigators say Marvin Lopez is undocumented and from Guatemala.
The district attorneys of both El Paso and Doña Ana counties say they are seeing a definite rise in crimes involving migrants. And both men say their offices are ready to handle the growing number of migrant criminals.
Well, in West Virginia, an arrest has been made after a woman's body was found in a burning field in Martinsburg. Deputies say the suspect in the murder is David Antonio Calderon. They say he is from El Salvador and was denied asylum in Canada, but was still able to make his way into the States.
Tonight, an illegal migrant is behind bars, accused of committing sex crimes against a minor.
A grand jury is set to meet today to decide the next steps of a case of an illegal immigrant who allegedly committed sex crimes against a 14-year-old girl. Deputies arrested this man, 32-year-old Renzo Montes, in February for an incident that happened back in January. Officials say he's a Venezuelan citizen who's here illegally. They say Border Patrol actually caught Montes last year but let him go.
Deputies went to a home in Oakfield where the resident reported a 12-year-old girl came to the door seeking help. The girl reported escaping from a man trying to assault her in a vehicle while she was bound and blindfolded. Detectives, that is, found the suspect, a Nicaraguan man around 30 years old, and authorities say he was in the U.S. illegally.
In Texas, a Mexican national is now in federal custody after jumping a fence and breaching the lawful
Laughlin Air Force Base Thursday.
Law enforcement in Baton Rouge uncovering an alleged human trafficking operation across multiple states. A federal complaint filed in the Middle District of Louisiana alleges a Venezuelan criminal organization organized this operation. According to court documents, one woman says she was first smuggled across the southern border into Texas. She was told she would have to pay the smuggler $30,000 by having sex with clients of the gang.
As you wake up this morning, 2 officers were shot overnight. The suspect also shot.
Police also saying that suspect Bernardo Raul Castro Mata currently resides at a migrant shelter not too far away from here.
This morning, DNA from this pair of sunglasses linking an undocumented migrant to yet another burglary in Martin County. The sheriff's office says a 41-year-old named Oscar Amaya Guevara now tied to 3 different cases.
According to deputies, this is the same man who back in January was arrested and accused of punching a 17-year-old girl in the face several times after breaking into her house.
Today, an illegal immigrant who killed someone in Troy is set to be sentenced. Carlos Corrales Ramirez, the Honduras native, was also charged with a stabbing in Maryland last February. He was arrested for that crime, but was later released because Maryland officials never extradited him. Now he's facing 25 years to life in prison.
Christian Inga was arraigned today in New York City on charges of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl after school last week in a shocking daylight attack. Police say the 25-year-old migrant from Ecuador approached 2 teens in the park at knife point. According to the criminal complaint, the suspect tied the boy and girl to one another, gagged them, then raped the girl before fleeing the scene.
5 men in the U.S. illegally were arrested Monday morning in northeast Missouri after a teenage girl was reported missing in Indiana. The suspects are accused of kidnapping the 14-year-old from her home.
In Volusia County, a woman is in jail charged with the raping of a 12-year-old boy.
Investigators say Maradiaga admitted to having sex with the boy. They say she is not a U.S. citizen and appears to be in the country illegally.
An alleged MS-13 gang member indicted for an attack that blinded 2 men. Prosecutors tell us Gensel Soler Avila stabbed the men in the eyes and face.
The man charged with sexual battery involving 3 girls and a woman at Water Country, USA, was in a York County court this morning. When asked if he needed a court-appointed attorney, he answered through the translator, telling the judge, quote, "I am an immigrant and don't have any money."
A 21-year-old undocumented migrant is behind bars for allegedly raping a 15-year-old girl in Albany.
A Guatemalan man is in the country illegally. Apparently is being charged with sexual battery on a 14-year-old girl.
A Haitian migrant accused of raping a teenager in a Rockland emergency shelter is now out on bail. Corey Alvarez was released on $500 bail yesterday.
New at 10, an Adams County man is in jail following a child sex assault investigation. 33-year-old Walter Ishmael Garcia Lazo faces 2 counts of first-degree sexual assault of a child under 12 years old. He's in jail on a $30,000 bond, and an immigration detainer has been placed on him by Homeland Security.
And now to a story. These 2 women living in the country illegally are behind bars this morning. This after deputies say they were a part of an organized theft ring hitting stores all across the state.
A 6-year-old girl is in the hospital this morning fighting for her life. After a crash in Somerdale, the driver is still in the Baldwin County Jail this morning. Prosecutors say that the preliminary results showing 25-year-old Zelvin Gomez was going 68 miles per hour in a 45-mile-per-hour zone. The district attorney's office says that Gomez is in this country illegally after he previously sought asylum from Honduras. His asylum request was denied.
Tonight we are learning disturbing new details about the death of 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungaray. 2 Venezuelan nationals are charged with murdering the young girl and dumping her body in a North Houston bayou.
Wednesday morning, the 2 men, along with this woman, Elizabeth Tovar, arrested and now are all facing charges related to money laundering, prostitution, and racketeering.
Fox 17 News has learned the man accused of killing a Nashville restaurant owner is an illegal immigrant with a criminal record. Fox 17 News also has confirmed that he has, as I mentioned, a criminal history, and a judge is accused of dismissing 3 charges against him during a preliminary hearing
back in March.
State police say this man, Angel Zappet Alvarado, refused to get out of his car after he was stopped for speeding. ASP says the trooper deployed her taser after he refused her order. Investigators say the suspect then wrestled the trooper's taser from her hands. Arkansas State Police say the suspect is an undocumented illegal immigrant.
A man accused of sexually assaulting a woman at a Charlotte tire shop is in the U.S. illegally.
Law enforcement officers arrested an undocumented immigrant on charges of sexual assault of a child.
A Jordanian citizen in the U.S. illegally is accused of sexually assaulting a Wausau woman.
A man from Guatemala is charged for drunk driving in a fatal crash this weekend in Branson. Garcia told police he ran away from the truck without checking on anyone since he was scared of being deported.
2 men who arrived to the United States illegally are arrested in Fort Wayne on rape charges.
Jorge Sanchez Martinez. He's currently being charged with negligent homicide, reckless operation of a vehicle, and not being licensed to drive. The district attorney's office says Sanchez applied for a visitor visa in 2019 and was denied. He later came into the state undocumented and he has no driver's license.
Court records say the violence erupted here in this parking lot over a long-standing feud between 2 families that stretches back to their home country of Honduras. Both men that have been arrested are related to the victims, but right now they are not facing charges in their killings.
Today, Lawrence police arrested Santos Escobar and Miguel Antunes on charges of battery with a deadly weapon and criminal recklessness. Court documents reveal those charges stem from the investigation into a triple homicide at 42nd and Post Road where both men had family members killed. Jail records say both the men who have been arrested do have a federal immigration hold on them at this point.
A Kingston man has pleaded guilty to sexually abusing a 7-year-old girl. The Ulster County DA says 41-year-old Carlos Fernando Pinola Pop had sexual contact with the girl last September. He may be deported afterwards since he's undocumented.
A group of migrants tried to board a school bus this morning while it was traveling to a school. The superintendent for the Humboldt del Zura Union School District informed parents of that incident earlier today. It happened at one of the stops on the school district's bus route that heads to Oak Grove Middle School and Humboldt Primary. Meanwhile, yesterday afternoon, in a similar area along another route, the superintendent says that a group of migrants tried to stop another bus. Border Patrol, CHP, and the Sheriff's Office have now been informed of these incidents. The superintendent says that for the safety of everyone, if a driver sees a group of migrants at a bus stop, they will drive past it and move on to the next.
He's now been identified as 39-year-old Freddie Antonio Amaya Marin from El Salvador. Officers say the suspect stood in the woods outside his home and shot at multiple vehicles driving down the street until police arrived on the scene. He then began shooting at officers. Amaya Marin faces 8 counts of attempted murder and federal charges for illegal re-entry after deportation.
Tonight, Juan Puentes, Christian Villarreal, and Diego Dusan face several drug trafficking charges each.
Sheriff's Office confirms each man has an ICE detainer, which means Immigration Customs Enforcement is looking into whether they should be deported.
I know what a crime looks like, and I will tell you, an undocumented immigrant is not a criminal.